Is Ripple going to IPO soon? There are banks that are putting out new evaluations of Ripple before their IPO, and this is 11.3 billion. We're also going to take a look at some new information from an event that just happened with David Schwartz, talking about some new utility coming to the XRP ledger. We're also going to get into this Jake Claver clip, talking about a $2,500 XRP. There's some brand new Ripple and Tenity connections here, what this could mean. Also, there's some information about Roger Ver in the early days of Ripple and how he might have helped. We're going to go ahead and talk about all of this in today's video. Guys, if you get any value, please hit like. So I wanted to just verify the statement. Is this legitimate? The statement is accurate. Southwest Asia's largest bank, DBS, has indeed valued Ripple at 11.3 billion ahead of its potential IPO in 2026, according to Crypto Digest. DBS Bank, of course, is headquartered in Singapore and is recognized as Southeast Asia's largest bank, published a valuation for Ripple at 11.3 billion. I mean, DBS has been a long-time Ripple customer, so this is not, surprising to me. I think you're going to get other evaluations over the next 6 to 12 months, and they actually will come in higher, in my personal opinion. As Ripple becomes more valuable, their price will soar. The valuation comes as Ripple prepares for an IPO, which CEO Brad Garlinghouse has publicly targeted for 2026. The move is widely interpreted as a sign of its growing institutional confidence in Ripple's technology and business model, especially in cross-border payment sector, where Ripple is seen as a challenger to traditional SWIFT system. DBS's endorsement is viewed as significant given its reputation and influence in the Asian finance, and it's seen as a signal that traditional banking is increasingly open to blockchain solutions. Love to hear that. Here is that clip I was telling you about. It's only 25 seconds, but listen closely.
What kind of use cases do you hope we'll start seeing built?
The XRP ledger was purpose-built to solve specific financial use cases with the DEX, issued assets, escrows, forthcoming loans. I think we'll be able to address the major financial use cases through native transactors that, implement the functionality that people need, like loans will be able to be done that way. But
remember, Ripple's becoming a bank. Once they become a bank, they could take on regular customers like you and I if they so choose to. This is going to open up Ripple to new utilities, like being able to loan. It would be really cool if you could use your XRP within some type of Ripple escrow at their bank to get a loan for US dollars. Maybe Ripple does become a lender of last resorts. Remember, that was always one of their goals, or one of the things that they talked about most in between like 2015 and 2020 was becoming a lender of last resorts. So I wanted to understand the biggest financial use cases for XRP and just to see if there's anything has changed. So I always like to ask this question a few times a month to see if there's anything else that maybe I'm missing. Bridge currency for cross-border payments. We talk about that so much on this channel. I don't need to really spend too much time on that, but on-demand liquidity, if Ripple does become a financial institution where banks feel like there's all the trust in the world, once you are another bank and you're working with another bank, you really can't get any higher as far as, where you are in the pecking order. So banks are going to trust other banks because they have to go through all of these steps and hoops to verify the reserves and all of these other things. It would really solidify Ripple as a legitimate partner in this new evolving blockchain infrastructure world. Institutional settlements and treasury options. XRP is used by banks and financial institutions to settle large-scale transactions quickly and efficiently with settlement times of 3 to 5 seconds with minimal transaction fees. It talks about micropayments and tokenization. Due to its low fees and scalability, XRP is suitable for micropayments. One of these examples is, if you ever wanted to just read one article, right, and they want you to sign up for a month or 3 months or 6 months to some kind of newspaper or online newspaper ad or something like that. What if you could just pay 20 cents or 25 cents or 50 cents and read that one article you were most interested in? You can't really do that with traditional systems because of how costly it is to do a payment like that. So using XRP to facilitate those types of small micro payments could be a huge use case for companies selling fractions of what they normally would sell. And if you get enough of that, it could make up for all the money that maybe you are missing in key areas. Potential role in CBDC and national reserves. This is an ongoing exploration of XRP's use in central bank digital currencies frameworks as a strategic reserve asset, potentially unlocking trillions in capital for national or institutional use cases. I mean, we talk about getting rid of Nostro Vostro accounts. That's a really big one. And so here's some of the stuff that we've already talked about. I don't really want to repeat myself, but let's go to the Jake Claver clip here, $2,500 XRP. What would need to happen? Let's play it.
So let's talk about XRP because I bought a chunk. What happens if it goes to 2,500? What needs to happen for that to happen?
There's a lot of things that that's the requirements for that to happen. A lot of people just tell you, oh, there's, flip a switch, get out of here with that stuff. There's actually global macroeconomic events that need to play out in order for that supply shock to take place to push it to that value. And that's what it would have to be. There's supply and demand economics. People look at total market cap, but in reality, it's whatever the supply is on the market for purchase that drives the liquidity and the market dynamics and value.
But can't they make more XRP?
They cannot. So originally there was 100 billion. XNS was what it was originally called, minted June 2nd of 2012. And they black holed that account. So what that means is nobody has access to it. They can't get back into it. They can never mint more. Nobody can freeze the XRP. It is locked at 100 billion and 5,000 of them are burnt every single day. So it's literally the only deflationary asset besides like uranium on the planet.
Well, that makes it more valuable.
All right, there you go. Will we see a supply shock? I did a video on this, I believe last week or the week before that, where I looked at numbers from 2024 into 2025. Yes, XRP is disappearing off exchanges like Binance and Coinbase and all of these other ones. People are actively pursuing XRP right now on a massive scale. And I think people are underestimating the impact of low liquidity on exchanges. What could that mean for the price of XRP? Here's a new partnership that I just heard of, going over it with you here. Ripple teams up with Kennedy to supercharge XRP adoption in Asia. So I wanted to just see what was going on here. Ripple partnered with Kennedy, a global fintech incubator, to launch XRPL Accelerator program in Singapore, aiming to boost innovation and adoption of the XRP ledger across the Asia Pacific. This initiative is designed to support early stage startups and corporate innovation teams building on the XRP ledger's technology, with particular focus in the Asia Pacific region. The grant funding is 200,000 non-equity grants. It's a 12-week accelerator program to prioritize real-world asset tokenization, institutional decentralized finance, and the intersection of AI and blockchain. So that's really cool. Mentorship and networking, so they can participate in all of this. If you are building in these regions, you might want to be looking at this grant to apply for it. Strategic location: Singapore was chosen due to its strong fintech ecosystem, regulatory clarity, and status as a leading blockchain hub in Asia. Significant investment, hosting over 300 crypto and blockchain companies as of 2025. So this is actually pretty cool. Here's the eligibility. If you're interested in this, please go ahead and take a look at, you can go to Kennedy.com and read the article. All right, here is some new information that's coming to light here. Roger Ver was participating in the early days with Jed and Caleb about the XRP ledger. Check it.
Another fun fact in regards to, I was technically the second person ever involved with Ripple or XRP, whatever you want to call it. So the original idea for it came from Jed McCaleb, as most people probably know. But his idea was that, hey, Roger, I think Bitcoin mining is wasteful. It uses lots of electricity, and and we can accomplish the same thing with using less electricity. So I know, he said that he knows how to make a version of Bitcoin that doesn't require mining, and asked if I would pay for the David Schwartz, who now became the CTO. Said, hey, can you pay this guy's salary to help build it, and I'll guide it, and we'll work on it together. So I said, sure, let's give it a try. And I think that was way back in 2012. So technically, wow, I was
that's incredible.
The second person ever involved in Ripple.
That's incredible. Wow.
All right. And then if you don't know who Roger Ver is a prominent and controversial figure in the cryptocurrency world, widely known as his nickname Bitcoin Jesus, for his early and passionate advocacy of Bitcoin, born in 1979 in San Jose, California. He's from the Bay Area. Cool. And then here are all the companies that he's invested in, some pretty big ones. There's also this week, we're going to have some more information in the United States about the Clarity Act and the Genius Act. Let me just show you this clip really quickly.
Middle of making crypto policy for the United States of America. You have an upcoming crypto week. Tell us about that.
Well, right now, digital assets, cryptocurrency, and everything related to using financial payments on a blockchain is basically not regulated, not clear to consumers, investors, entrepreneurs how to use it, how to avoid federal prosecution. So in 2 weeks, we'll bring to the House floor the Clarity Act, which gives the rules of the road of how to invest in digital assets, how to trade them, how you can be a broker, and the market framework for digital assets. And we'll also bring to the House floor dollar-backed payment stablecoins, which we believe those two things will advance America's power around the world in financial services by extending the authority of the U.S. dollar as we move from finance in a traditional format to finance being carried out on a blockchain.
Chairman French Hill,
This is interesting, right? There is the Genius Act already now sitting in the House. It looks like they're going to work on that as well as the Clarity Act, which could be crypto regulation here in America. So stay tuned. This is going to be a very interesting week ahead. I will bring you all the news and updates. Just make sure you're following and turn the bell notification on. I will see you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Crypto Sensei. Have a good weekend. Nothing in this video should be taken as financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. Please seek financial advice if you need it. Let's get back to the video.